that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meetings to which this certification applies, and only such business matters as were identified in the motion concerning the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Edwards, second by Mr. Alder. Let's stand for pledge and remain
Did we
standing.
vote on that?
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Roll call.
I feel like we're in church.
Mr. Palmer.
Here.
Mrs. Garner.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Wright.
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney.
Yes.
Mr. Winter.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Now let's stand for pledge and moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag Thank you. You may be seated. Now we turn it over to Dr. Warner for Senior of the Month.
Actually, I'd like to ask that Dr. Lax come, or, oh, I'm sorry, not Dr. Lax, Dr. Oldendorf.
Good evening, Chairman Garner, Vice Chair Allgood, Dr. Warner, and school board members. Mecklenburg County High School would like to recognize the March Senior of the Month, Sydney Reed. Sydney is the daughter of Dr. Reed and Victor Reed. Sydney has excelled in dual enrollment courses and is on track to graduate with an advanced diploma in May. Her teachers describe her as a kind, compassionate, dependable, and motivated. From an early age, Sydney has demonstrated a passion for service and community. In middle school, she found purpose and joy in volunteering for the Special Olympics. Sydney continues her commitment to help others through her involvement at New Hope Baptist Church, where she connects with faith, God, and her community. Sydney also volunteered at Hometown Orthodontics, impressing Dr. Reed so much that she was subsequently hired. This experience complements her volunteer work on farms in Suffolk, where she cared for animals including horses, chickens, donkeys, pigs, and peacocks. Beyond work and service, Sydney enjoys various hobbies, including riding motorcycles on the track, snowboarding, wakeboarding, and going to the gym. Additionally, she loves reading, watching movies, and spending time with her loved ones. Her life experiences have shaped her into a well-rounded person. Growing up as a Navy brat, she lived in several states, adapting to diverse perspectives. She bought her first car at 14, fulfilling her dream of owning a Bumblebee Camaro, and purchased her own motorcycle at 17. After graduating high school, Sydney plans to attend Longwood University, majoring in biology and pursuing a career as a board-certified orthodontist. Sydney is grateful for her opportunity to represent Mecklenburg County High School as March's Senior of the Month, and she is grateful that her hard work in and out of school is recognized. Congratulations, Sydney.
So, as tradition has it, we always ask our seniors of the month to bring up to the dais who they'd like to credit why you're such a great person. And normally that's your parent, but if you have
Yes.
somebody else, you can bring them up too.
It is my parents. My mother isn't here today. She's currently in Chicago serving for the Navy right now. But my father is here as well as my sister, and I'm very, very grateful for them. They've both taught me a lot, and I'm very, very grateful, especially for my father and my mother, and Tori. She's definitely a great learning experience as the younger child. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So next we'd like to ask Dr. Lax to come up, and she's going to talk about our featured individuals tonight, and then we have our recognition after that.
Good evening, Board Chair Garner, Vice Chair Allgood, Dr. Warner, school board members. It is my honor and privilege tonight to recognize several of our our Mecklenburg County High School and the wonderful accomplishments they had. We're going to start with athletics tonight. We have two very important basketball members who really hit a milestone this past season, as they each scored 1,000 points for their career. And so we want to recognize them tonight. We know that the school has already focused and mentioned them at the basketball games, but we wanted to recognize them in front of you. The first is Jordan Macklin. Jordan is not here tonight. And Amonte Farah was also recognized for scoring 1,000 points for a boys basketball team. And again, what a huge accomplishment for one in their career. And then next, moving on to our Beta Club. Our Beta Club recently competed in state convention. And as you know, Ms. Wright is a wonderful sponsor of our Beta Club. And she's very proud of her students for having several first place, second place, and third place winners. As a result of the winners, we will send a large amount of students again to national convention, and we're very excited for them and their ongoing hard work. I'm going to recognize our first place Beta Club state convention winners at this time. First is Meredith Graham. Meredith, you'll come forward. Meredith placed first in agri-science at the convention. Congratulations to Meredith. Second is Helen Peters. Helen placed first in the biomedical health science competition. Next is Emily Smith. Emily placed first in the psychology competition. Leanne Wagstaff. Leanne placed first in social studies and drawing. Kate Griffin. Kate placed first in language arts. Slate George. Slate won first place in health and physical education. And Emily Morrison. Emily placed first in biomedical health science. So again, we would like to congratulate our first place winners. What a major accomplishment. They make the Phoenix proud, and thank you for your ongoing dedication to the Beta Club.
We'd like to come down and shake their hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Go that way.
And then Dr. Warner is going to recognize our second and third place winners.
Which direction we going?
Goes that way. Of course, we've got some going the other way.
Ms. Wright just shared with me a lot of the girls were unable to make it tonight. They have a game.
Y'all were too busy trying to make a decision.
And then Dr. Warner, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
we're going to take the same venue by doing athletics first and then Beta Club. And this is not in any particular order other than what's been put on the agenda here. But we had this year we have a third place girls wrestling state championship participant, Samantha Van de Waken. Did I pronounce that right? If you would come on up, and what I'm going to ask, if you would start here, and then we're going to line everybody up. We want to make sure we recognize everyone. Beta Club second place winners, we have Skylar Stevens for Agri-Science, Grace Castle, Psychology, Danielle Jamie Quilling. You're going to have to tell us what quilling is. Jennifer Gutierrez for Spanish, Declan Kelly for spelling, Natalie McClarity for spelling, Colin Eichenauer, U.S. History, Cassie Curran, on-site painting, Layla Rulli for poetry, Kaylee Hazelwood, color photography, Addison Tharp for biomedical health science. These are our second place Beta Club winners. If you come on up, if you're here, come on up. If not, I'll go to the third place Beta Club winners, and that would be Jillian Jones for speech, Jennifer Gutierrez for painting, Charlotte Gordon for math, Olivia Griffin for on-site drawing, and then teams, Emily Morrison, Colin Eichenauer, Grace Castle, Slate George for musicology and campaign skit. And I think they need your photo, and then instead of making the board have to get out of their seats and have you guys. Congratulations.
Must came make one trip a night.
Dancing.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen and parents, these young people didn't get here by themselves. They had great parents and great coaches and great sponsors. I also want to recognize all that they've done to give our kids, our students, an opportunity to do something other than just learn about reading, math, and social studies. These kind of activities are really great for our kids, and we thank you as well for not only bringing us such great kids, but coming here tonight as well. And next is public input. Is that right?
Do we have, okay. Well, superintendent's report.
All right. First item on the list is the Clarksville Elementary School project update, and Mr. Dalton is going to bring that up and show all of you that. And if any parent or student who's come tonight to be recognized, if you want to slip out, you can. You can stay for the entire meeting. We'd love to have you. But I don't want you to feel as though that you're trapped here.
Good evening. As we have every month, this is just Clarksville Elementary School update. We'll go over construction progress, schedule, budget, and photos. Construction progress started on August 1st, 2023, installing the fuel pumping station, casework ready for installation, field and grading of site for parent drop-off queue, interior painting continues, installation of classroom doors. Health Department made the preliminary kitchen inspection about a week or so ago. They're pulling the data, fire alarm, and fiber, installing projector screens above the stage, installing door security devices and wiring, installing electrical outlets, fixtures, and lights. Anticipated completion dates have not moved. Substantial completion still scheduled for March 31st, 2025. Final completions anticipated April 30th, 2025. Feel like we will get our TCO sometimes about mid-April. Notable upcoming activities, installing ceiling tiles, they're doing that now. HVAC is checked out and flushed the water systems and test VAVs for programming. Final asphalt parking lot in the parent queue. Complete kitchen equipment checkout, epoxy painting of the floors, complete stem wall coverings on the roof, and complete drying. As you can see, our pie graph gets smaller and smaller every month. We're still on budget, still on schedule. This is the fill and grading of the parent queue. This is the drop-off queue going around the parking lot. This was installing the bus fuel pump. And this is a picture of the main entrance of the school. Installing the soffit and the fascia. This is on what will eventually be B-wing. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Dahl, will the board get a chance to go through the new school before it's open to the public?
Sure, absolutely. We're just kind of waiting for all the overhead work to commence.
Okay, thank you.
So probably sometime in April. I believe we want to try to schedule a joint education meeting there sometime in April. So
Okay. Yeah.
don't know the date yet. We're just kind of waiting to see how the chips fall. That should be forthcoming.
Okay, thank you.
Next item would be the fiscal year 2026 budget. It has Mrs. Barber's name there, but I think I'm the one who has to present it. So I'm going to go down to the dais.
Skip. Yeah, you skipped one.
That's all right. Got a little ahead of myself, folks. I apologize.
Trying to get home early.
Getting anxious.
Good evening again. The instruction team has several updates that we would like to provide the board this month. We're going to start with health and physical education textbook adoption. Our health and physical education team at the middle school and high school approached the instruction team and inquired about the opportunity to look into new textbook curriculum for health and physical ed. The textbook curriculum that we have is pretty old, and it's actually outdated on several of the modules that we're required to teach our students from the state. So what we did is we developed some steps and timeline. We spoke with Dr. Warner and Ms. Pepper, and we reached out to VDOE back in December and reached specifically out to their health and physical education department to ask them for some recommended textbook companies of who they would suggest that we look into for adoption. Unfortunately, they were not able to provide us with a recommended list. They did not have a recommended list. So we were able to kind of reach out to some of our neighboring schools and to some other school divisions within the Commonwealth to find out the curriculum that they were using. In January, we contacted these textbook companies for samples. We met on the PD day last Monday with our HPE middle and high school teachers to review the curriculum and to receive their feedback. We hosted a parent and community review this past week and into today. We are bringing our recommendation to you all tonight and asking for you all to consider a vote at the April meeting to adopt a new health and physical education curriculum. We reviewed two textbooks, two curriculums. The first was Botvan Life Skills. We are currently using Botvan Life Skills. And then we also reviewed Glencoe Health. And I'm going to break down our analysis of both of those. The first was Botvan Life Skills. As I mentioned, we are currently using Botvan. The pros that our teachers felt was that there is a workbook that goes along with the materials for each of our students to use. But they also noted several cons. The entire workbook is only 7 45-minute sessions. So as you all can imagine, they're going through that material pretty quickly, especially in light of the fact that our class periods are 90 minutes. And Dr. Holzendorf, with his admin team, have created a rotating schedule for our HPE 9 and 10 students so that they're getting equal health time in the classroom as well as phys ed time in the gym. So there's a concern for a lack of materials from BotVin. Also, there's concern that it does not align to VDOE HP standards, specifically in the areas of CPR. Some outdated information, and that was what they noted in that area of CPR. As you are aware, that is a component that all of our students must have. They must pass a CPR certification assessment before they are able to graduate from high school. And there was limited supplementary material for our teachers to be able to use as they were teaching through the BotVin lessons. Glencoe Health, they noted several pros. The first is that it does align to the VDOE curriculum. There are 28 modules that are pretty lengthy, so as you can imagine, a lot more material than BotVin. There are lesson plans, review checks, notes, and quizzes that are included. The updated CPR info is also included. One of the things that we really liked was the ability to provide accommodations for our L students and our students with disabilities. There is a read aloud component and a translation component that goes along with the textbooks through online modules. And also the Glencoe Health covered HPE 9 and HPE 10 curriculum. As you are aware, our HPE 10 students do spend a bulk of their in-class time doing driver's ed, but there are also state components that they have to complete for HPE 10, and that is included within Glencoe Health. For cons, the middle school and high school teachers did not list any for Glencoe. We had our parent and community feedback last week, and this week we put it out on social media on our school websites. Invited the parents and community to come in and review the materials. Unfortunately, we did not have anyone to come in and review those materials, so we do not have any feedback from those stakeholders. Our middle school and high school teachers both really enjoyed and liked the Glencoe Health and strongly advocated for a selection of Glencoe Health over BotVin. And based off of their feedback as well as in conversations with our administrators, we are recommending to the board and asking for you all to approve Glencoe Health as the new HPE middle school and high school curriculum at the April meeting. Does anyone have any questions about this proposed adoption for HPE? Okay. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Holzendorf, Miss Sarah Hughes, and Miss Amy Wright to come and speak on a secondary update involving cell phones.
Good evening again. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Dr. Warner on the phone. He said it'd probably be a good idea to kind of give you an update on how things are going with our non-district devices. And Ms. Chumney couldn't be here with us tonight, so Ms. Hughes is going to help out with that. And I've also asked Ms. Wright to join me. Look at your slide on the second page. As soon as the policy was adopted on November 18th, we started communicating with our parents through a lot of different avenues. You really can't see the type, but we sent letters home. We did Facebook posts. We had it on our Phoenix 5 news show. We did call outs. We posted signs throughout the building to remind people, remind the students of the policy. We also came up with a non-district device enforcement plan so that it can make life a little bit easier on the teachers, make sure it was practical, modeling professional behavior, addressing student violations with consistency, using our SSOs and our administrators to confiscate devices instead of putting that on our teachers. And of course, the administrators handle the situations where a student may not want to comply with the rules. As you can see in your handout, kind of where we are now, we've confiscated approximately 225 devices. That could be headphones, AirPods, cell phones. We've had approximately 184 students that have had something confiscated, which is about 16% of our student body. We have about 30 that have had multiple offenses, so 2, 3, or 4 offenses with a device. And we unfortunately have had about 30 situations where students have been defiant, didn't want to give up the device, and ended up with a consequence for their defiance. And then I always like to throw in the positive because we've only had, there's 83% of our students have not had a violation, so we're excited about that. And at this time, Ms. Wright is going to share some of the positive and negative impacts that this has had on our school.
I want to share some of the incredible impacts we have seen at our high school since implementing the non-district device policy. To put it simply, it's working. Since the policy took effect, we've noticed a powerful shift in our student culture. First and foremost, students are focused. Without the constant distraction of buzzing phones and text alerts, students are present in class. Students are more engaged, fostering deeper discussions and a stronger academic focus. Another milestone is that fewer discipline issues are tied to social media conflicts, inappropriate messaging, and inappropriate videos. What's equally inspiring is what's happening outside the classroom. Students walk to and from class without cell phones or AirPods in their ears. They talk to one another, and I see them laughing, connecting, and helping one another. This policy builds a healthier, more connected school environment where students are academically and socially engaged. Policies like this can be controversial in a world where technology is everywhere, but I want to reassure you this was the right move for our students. Research exists that supports our district policy, and I encourage our stakeholders to explore the studies on technology and its impact on our children. While our non-district device policy has brought some clear benefits, I also want to be transparent about our challenges in enforcing it. One ongoing issue is students struggling without access to time, especially during lunch and transitions. The school has ordered a large clock to resolve this issue. We're also seeing resistance from students who refuse to comply, forcing staff to collect devices throughout the day, which takes valuable time and energy away from instruction and support. Unfortunately, this has led to increased suspensions and in-school suspensions tied directly to noncompliance and defiance. Students sometimes become confrontational when asked to hand over their device, creating unnecessary conflicts that escalate. We are committed to enforcing the non-district device policy and supporting a robust academic environment. Thank you for supporting us as we continue to implement this policy.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. And as she was talking about the positive and negatives, one of the things I think we've noticed is for some students, the emotional attachment to their device is pretty real. And sometimes it's upset when you have to take that device and lock it up. If you look at some of the pictures that we provided, this is sort of our process that we put in place. You can see initially there's an element of shock when you have to take a device from them, even though we've been announcing this for the last 3 months. But we do confiscate the device. We do have cell phone lockers. We have 7 of these lockers that we take to our cafeteria for breakfast and for lunch. And we also have them in the hallways during arrival. If a student does have a cell phone or device confiscated, we do put it on a discipline referral. And then we also log it on each box, has a cell phone device information log that we put the student's name, when it was taken, what was taken, so that we can keep track of those things. And then we enter that into a spreadsheet so we can track how many times the student has been asked to turn over a device. We've only had 2 occasions where we've had to provide a behavior contract for a student because they had 4 or more infractions. But if we get to that point, then we basically sit down with the student and the parent and explain, this is what you need to do to be successful at Mecklenburg County High School. And used to, we have 15 to 20 devices taken in a day. Lately, it's more like 4 or 5. So it's definitely slowing down. At this time, I'm gonna let Ms. Hughes talk about the middle school.
So at the middle school, we implemented ours at the beginning of the school year. We sent letters home, we posted it on social media, and we made announcements. If you ask any student in the building, where's your cell phone supposed to be at, they'll tell you off and in my book bag. And for the most part, that's where they're at. They are often in their book bags. We do a student meeting at the beginning of each 9 weeks to remind them of our expectations, not only about cell phones, but our other behavioral expectations for them. We consistently confiscate devices and process discipline referrals as documentation. We don't ask the teachers to do that. If they have a cell phone, they call us. As an administrator, I go to the room and pick the phone up so that way that takes that teacher out of their confrontation with the student. It is then locked in the cell phone locker in the office or upstairs in the suite. We have had less than 40 cell phones confiscated today. We've only had 4 students that have had a phone confiscated 3 or more times. We have 2 students now that use the lockbox on a daily basis. And we've only had 4 referrals for defiance. These are the students that have had to lock their phone up, had confiscated more than 3 times. We have had 95% of the student body with no cell phone infractions.
Thank you all. And I just wanted to mention, this was a big ask, not only in Mecklenburg County, but across the Commonwealth. This all kind of started with the Executive Order number 28 by the governor. And as we speak right now, Senate Bill 738 is on the governor's desk to be signed. It's gone from an executive order to now becoming a law, not allowing cell phones in schools. It's been a big ask. You guys have really worked hard. I appreciate it, how hard you've worked. I'm sure I speak for the board as well. There's always going to be, unfortunately, young people and older people who choose to try to get away with things, but I think what Mrs. Wright's commentary on the positive factors that were occurring now, you have kids that are more active and actually communicating face-to-face rather than texting across the room. I just appreciate what you've done. I know it's still an uphill battle, but thank you for the work that you're doing.
I have a question. Is there a point when they do it so many times they lose that privilege to use their phone?
We have 2 students that are required to bring it to the office first thing in the morning and lock it up. I know that one of those phones is still in the lockbox, so the parent has refused to come and pick it up.
It's a good place for it. And I had one other question, Dr. Sturtevant and Ms. Puckett. Do y'all have any issues with phones in your schools? We haven't addressed the elementary schools.
No, we don't have any issues with cell phones.
None? I know there are some kids that carry them even as young as you all deal with. How about you, Ms. Puckett? But if they face you, I'm sure you take care of it. Good job. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank y'all.
Would now like to ask Mrs. Erin Fleming to come and present the special education annual plan.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing this evening? Good. So as Dr. Lex said, I will be presenting you tonight the 2025-2026 special education plan. So some of the things you'll be hearing about will be from data from last school year and implementation of how we did things from the previous school year, because as y'all know, most of our data is the year previous. So as far as LEA and local jails, previously in Mecklenburg County, we had the satellite office of Boynton jail. And so in the past, we had to put a jail status in our annual plan. However, it is on the Meharry Regional Jail website that there is still a satellite jail. However, I've confirmed with the manager and supervisor of the jail that they no longer use the satellite office jail in Boynton. So that is a change from our annual plan from last year to this year, if you were on the board previously. So we did not have to include a local regional jail option in our annual plan for funding for that. So as far as our narrative, this is from, so as far as our narrative, this is implementation of things that happened from the previous school year. So MCPS maintained a full continuum of services for students with disabilities. Parent participation is evident in comprehensive study meetings, eligibility meetings, IEP meetings, FBA and BIPS, and manifestation meetings. We concluded many child find activities throughout the schools and the communities last school year. We also met and sent out letters to all daycares and private schools that are located in Mecklenburg County for child find. Professional development activities were provided to all staff and administrators based on our school calendar. Intervention instruction is available in all elementary schools in the areas of reading and math. We also have a reading and math interventionists at the middle school. Corrective reading and diligence programs were utilized by teachers who are training these programs to students who require specially designed instruction in the areas of reading. So these are things that we implemented last school year. So this is where our numbers are. This is from our December 1 count. So your December 1 count runs from December 2nd, 2023 to December 1, 2024. So we served 496 special education students during that time frame, and that was our number as of December 1, 2024. Right now, we're sitting at about 500, so we kind of flex between those numbers. Our child services act count, 33. So that is your number of students that are in private day schools and residential facilities. And then, so therefore, our maintenance of effort number, which is our total number that we receive funding for, is 463 students. Any questions on that so far? So this is where your maintenance of effort funding, again, these are numbers, these are projected budget numbers. As you can see, this is our local funding, and then you have your local plus state funding, and these are, like I said, estimated and projected numbers. Something that has changed from last school year to this school year, Mecklenburg County Public Schools was not identified from the Virginia Department of Ed as a division with a significant disproportionality. So what this means is in the past, they select school divisions. If you have too many African-American students that are identified intellectually disabled, that was something we've been identified with in the past. In the past, we've also been identified with too many Caucasian students having speech language only impairment. So those are some things that they claimed we were over-identifying. So last year we were voluntarily participating, but this year we were not even identified, which is great. So we don't have to use 15% of our funding towards those interventions. So we don't get any extra money when you participate in CIS. It just tells you how to spend your money, a certain portion. So we are not identified this year. So that's something that's different from the previous year. So your proportion set aside is the base of that number that's calculated for our students that are in our private schools around in the area and daycares, and that number is calculated based on our percentage of students that we serve. So those are those numbers for you there at the bottom. Like I said, those are projected and estimated, but those funding is typically used for your speech and occupational therapy services out in the community. Any questions? So this is your Part B 611 fund. So these are your flow-through funds will be applied to salaries, benefits, and substitute wages for staff, providing services for students with disabilities. Staff includes special education teachers, educational specialists, paraprofessionals. A portion of salaries and benefits will be paid for speech and occupational therapy services to those permanently placed students needing speech and therapy services. And those are your This is our 619, so this is your preschool, your 2 to 5 age range. As most of you know, in Virginia, we do serve 2 to 5-year-olds for this part of your funding. So your 619 growth flow-through funds will be applied to the itinerant early childhood teacher salary who will provide services and support in ECSD classrooms throughout the district and in our home-based and community services for those students whose IEP requires those services in the home, community, or daycare placement. So I'm proposing this annual plan to the board today for March and seeking your approval for April. I also have the full 43-page Excel document that will also be uploaded into Board Docs for you all viewing. This is just like a snippet of the main things. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
If you do, y'all know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The last thing that I have on the agenda for instruction updates is to present the Carl Perkins plan. Mrs. Elmore is unable to be with us tonight, so I'm going to plan to share with the board an update on Carl Perkins. The 2025-2026 Perkins plan maintains last year's funding with key adjustments to enhance career exploration, student engagement, and administrative support. Additional funds have been allocated to expand career pathways exploration, particularly for the CT Connect event. The administrative code now also includes funding for committee meals, with plans to purchase meals from our culinary arts program for our students in their fall meeting. Increased funding also has been designated for special populations to support the growing number of students attending conferences. This plan is being submitted for review tonight to you all, and Mrs. Elmore is asking for you to vote in April so that she can submit to meet the state's deadline by April the 30th. I do encourage you to review the Perkins plan. It is on Board Docs, and over the next month, if you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to Mrs. Elmore. Thank you, Ms. Garner.
Thank you. Dr. Warner?
Although I'm presenting this budget, the lion's share of the work was done by Miss Amber Barber and Miss Christy Peffer. And so I want to start off with the highlights for this fiscal year. We've been able to purchase a lot of great things for our school division. Star Labs was purchased, a new PE curriculum, which you saw highlighted this evening. Stipends for employees who completed letters 1 and 2. Updated math resources across the division. Student services building was finished. Weapons detection system and other security measures were implemented at the secondary level. Updated bus fleet with 18 new buses. Updated vehicle fleet with 11 vehicles. Several renovation projects across all campuses. Implemented a new mentor-mentee program, which was highlighted during closed session by Dr. Caraway. And of course, last month, where you were provided the opportunity to vote for and approve for the staff one-time health credit. For fiscal year 2026, I'd like to start off by going through the projected revenues. The revenues partially are based upon the average daily membership, and our fall fiscal average daily membership, also known as ADM, was 3,685. Our estimated fiscal ADM as of February, this past month, was the same, 3,685. This might change depending on what the March 31st fiscal ADM comes in as. And just as a refresher, we have 2 reporting periods each year, one being September the 30th or October the 1st, just depending upon what day September 30th falls on. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, it'll be October. And also March 31st. This budget that we're going to be speaking about tonight is set with an ADM of 3,613 students. The next page, some state revenue updates. First of all, there was an increase to state appropriations for the School Construction Assistant Program, also known as SCAP. Mecklenburg County Public Schools is currently having conversations with the county for whether or not we should apply for the next round of funding. We did some of the calculations, and you have to have a score of at least 65. We think that we can hit somewhere around 77. Of course, I believe there's only $85 million or $80 million in the School Construction Assistance Program. But when we last applied for that, the state was able to provide us $6.5 million towards the Clarksville project, so it's very well worth applying for. Funding formula updates, sales tax and lottery revenue estimates will impact public education for the fiscal year 25 and 26. At risk, there's been an increase to at-risk funds. State funding for the prevention, intervention, and remediation programs have been absorbed by at-risk funds. And these are recommendations that have been made by Governor Youngkin to the biennial budget. Next page. This is a comparative analysis of projected revenue. Again, the word that's important is projected. And you'll see in our categories fiscal year 25 revenue versus the fiscal year 26 projected revenue. And you'll see that there's an increase in general fund from $565,662 to $765,662. State funding also an increase from $32.5 million to $35.2 million. Child nutrition, a slight increase from $2,600,000 to $2,630,000. Federal money, you'll see a loss, or less revenue, not a loss. Federal funding this year was $7.4 million, and we're looking at federal funding being somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.4 million projected for next year as far as revenue. Textbooks, pretty static, just a very slight increase where we basically went up about $400 and some dollars from $578,105 to $578,584. County contributions, and this includes carryover of all-in funds, and just to remind you, all-in funds was the 3-year sets of revenue of $1.7 million that were provided by the governor to address our chronic absenteeism, the Virginia Literacy Act, and the tutoring. You'll see that we're hoping that projected revenue will go up by about $1.6 million from 31.1 to about 32.8. When you look at the bottom line, the total projected revenue for this year was $74,874,464, with hopefully a projected revenue for next year it's $75,551,938. Next page, we'll go to the proposed expenditures. Debt services, see that we have a South Hill Elementary School bond 2007. The debt services will be, expenditures for next year would be approximately $391,874. VPSA funds from 2017 is $2,612,880. VPSA 2018, $2,797,873, and VPSA 2020, $2,313,463, for a total debt service, or what we pay on our mortgages, basically, $8,116,090. We also put in an asterisk, you'll see there, energy project $112,324 will be moved to operations and maintenance. Budget highlights. The first one's huge. We were just excited to hear from the Pierce Group that we have no health insurance increases for this upcoming year. That's huge. Another huge item is that our county and our board of supervisors have agreed to go beyond what other localities are doing by providing to us a 5% plus a step, which technically comes out to 6% increase for our employees. And then the other budget highlight is increase in utilities. The fiscal year 2026 salary increase, the expected cost to raise those salaries to the 5% plus the step is approximately $3,569,340, which includes, of course, the 5% increase. Scales will be adjusted accordingly. The step, which equivocates to approximately 1% increase, and an anticipated compensation supplement from the state is $1,185,725. Removing the compensation supplement will leave $2.4 million that MCPS will need to request from the Board of Supervisors for a salary increase. The fiscal 2026 total proposed increase consists of two requests: a salary increase of approximately, excuse me, not approximately, but exactly $2,383,615, plus the utilities increase of $600,000. Let me explain the utilities increase. For the longest time, we've utilized our instructional funds or other funds to be able to pay off our utility increases. We felt it was more transparent and probably much more well received if we just provided upfront what the increase is for the utilities. As we all know, with inflation and the world, the way of the world right now, things have gone up. Even though we built a brand new facility to replace four facilities, the increases, we did some increase with regard to power. Fiscal year 2026 projected operating categorical expenditures for Fund 1, and I'll just let you take a look at those there. You'll see that our proposal for expenditures go up approximately $3.4 million for instruction. In administration, goes up about $220,000. Pupil transportation, we're going up approximately $200,000. Operations and maintenance will go up approximately $900,000. And in technology, we're looking at very static, only going up by a couple of $100. When you look at the total fund category expenditures, you'll see a difference from this year of $56.1 million to next year's proposed expenditures of $60.8 million. Fund 1 is not the only fund. We also have Fund 2, which is school food, Fund 3, which is federal, Fund 4, which is debt services, Fund 5, which is textbooks, and then the total. And you can see the comparison here that school food will be going up about $30,000, a little under $30,000. And Fund 3, we talked about this earlier, there'll be less, we'll have to expend less in the federal category because we're receiving less. Fund 4, debt services, that stays relatively static as we pay off our mortgages for South Hill Elementary School and then our current complex. You'll see a change in that next year when we come online with Clarksville Elementary School. Fund 5, textbooks, that remains very static. And again, you'll see the difference for the total budget of funds 1 through 5. The difference between this year of $74.8 million to $75.5 million for the fiscal year 26 expenditures. Second to last page is just a comparative analysis about, we've already gone through as far as instruction, administration, pupil transportation, operations, maintenance, and technology, for a total for Fund 1 of $60.8 million. And then again, Fund 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a total of, along with Fund 1, $75.5 million. And then the elementary school fund, $8 million. Our total budget for funds 1 through 6 is $83,551,938. I'd like to thank Mrs. Barber and Ms. Peffer for the amazing work that they do with budget, not only putting together the budget for next year, but what they do each and every day, especially with trying to expend the additional funds that we have with ESSER, and trying to provide everyone their needs, sometimes their wants. If you have any questions, please be happy. I'm happy to take questions. I'm also going to ask Ms. Pepper and Ms. Barber to jump into if I don't have the correct answer.
Right, do we
You
have?
know I'm gonna ask
Yes, ma'am.
questions.
Give you a heads up.
I think it takes a crystal ball sometimes to figure out the what-ifs, but we're reading some pretty alarming things about federal funding for things like child nutrition programs. I think the Perkins, while it comes through the state, is at some level funded by federal money. I noticed we've got a $4 million drop in federal revenue projected that we're planning to make up, it looks like, through state and county.
That was extra funding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the COVID money.
So I guess I'm asking, do we have a what-if plan? Have you looked at what happens if the child and nutrition funding goes away, or?
I don't think it's going away.
No, it's not.
Okay.
3.4 million in federal will they usually carry over in a normal year. Everything that's, it looks like we're getting less federal, but all that federal was ESSER money.
Okay.
I do not feel that, they're gonna do anything with child nutrition. I think it's gonna stay the same. It might come down differently from the federal government to the state, but they're not gonna take away child nutrition. And I'm really not concerned about the federal title monies. Even if they do away with it, the Department of Education in a couple of years, I don't feel it's gonna affect funding, to a degree where we're not gonna be able to, meet our salary that we carry through federal.
One of the good things about, I'm sure everyone's heard that our president is contemplating doing away with the federal Department of Education. But there are lots of laws that are out there, protective laws for special education, title programs, where the funding still needs to be provided if it's a law. And you hear a lot of people saying that most probably the onus of being responsible for the distribution of the federal funds will now be transferred to the states. Now, how they divvy up those funds, I would hope that they do it the same way that they do now. But it's going to become a state problem, most probably, because they're going to be having to disperse those funds to us. But
They do that now. The states are given a big chunk of federal money, and they distribute it between all the school districts in the state.
I do want to say, again, thank you for a well-thought-out budget, and I appreciate the hard work y'all put into it.
Any more questions?
You know, this thing's been going on for years, Ms. Pfeffer. The good job. You and Ms. Barber, she's right in there swinging that bat, everything looking good.
we are.
Yeah, it's great when you sit up here and feel safe. I've been up here when it wasn't safe. So it's nice to be up here and know that we're in good hands.
Well, Amber started 30th, but I tell you what, there's nothing like June 30th comes and you're done. That's it. Don't have to worry about anything else.
And I will tell you that we are blessed, because we have a really good reciprocity with our board supervisors. They take care of our employees and the kids. And, you know, they could very simply, stick with recommended 3%. I think they value, our employees, they value the opportunities that those employees provide through love and care and education of kids, so we're very lucky. I mean, we're in a good place right now.
You know, Mr. Superintendent, we need to thank them more. I mean, you know, we really don't. If you go back some years back, it was like pulling teeth to get $200,000. It was tough. So, and I realize our county's in good financial shape, but that's because of good conservatism over the years, and they've actually watched how they spent money and what we're doing. But when you see one of your supervisors, you really need to thank them for what they do for the kids. Not only the school board thinking about it, and the superintendent and the finance department here, but I mean, they really put some heads into giving us what we need. So we need to thank them. Did you get that?
That was unanimous too, by the way. Everybody says that.
Meanwhile, we didn't tell them we need 20 more minutes.
I'll make sure I pass that. If you don't have any questions?
Well, the only thing is, I'm going to say is that we will have a public hearing on the budget sometime in April, so watch the newspaper and Facebook. It will be announced when the public hearing will be. All right, I guess you're still up, Bus.
All right, Lake Fest bus request. Ms. Pepper, do you want me to handle that?
Well, you better, because I don't know what that, well, I know what it
Yeah.
is, but I don't have the details,
All
but.
right. If you'll look on your board docs, you'll see that this is a regularly occurring event each year. It's an agreement between the Clarksville Lake Country Chamber of Commerce and Mecklenburg County School Board, where they basically charter a couple of our school buses. It's an agreement, it's kind of been a gentleman's agreement over the years, but we put it into contract form, and it's worked out real well. They pay for the fuel, and they pay for the driver, and they use the school buses as a shuttle back and forth from the next door to the Clarksville Elementary School parking lot, across from the YMCA in Clarksville, to the Lake Fest. If anyone has any questions, be happy to.
I take it the fuel rate, which is highlighted, will be updated to current?
That is the current rate, and,
I want to get fuel there.
pardon?
I want to
Well,
fill my diesel truck.
We buy it, and we're lucky that we're able to negotiate a price. All school divisions do that.
Thank you.
Do you all have any questions about that? I think that's an action item.
Yeah, that's-
is that correct?
Yeah, we've been doing this for years.
Years.
And then the next item is
DECA trip.
the DECA overnight field trip, and that is Ms. Pepper.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members. This is really right off the press, and I hate to ask, but this will need to be viewed and voted on tonight. We have one student that qualified for the National DECA Conference in Orlando, Florida, and they will be gone from April 25th to April 30th. And we would like permission to go ahead and send them and the sponsor to Florida. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have to ask, we are sending 2 adults?
Jackie Ray was on there because they wanted to drive, and Brian and I squashed the driving of a student to Florida, so Jackie Ray will not be going.
Okay. Okay.
And we will vote on this tonight.
Yes.
Do we need to take that that it's amended for that?
No, it's on the agenda.
No, that Jackie Ray will not be going because this application says.
I don't think so. You're not approving the sponsor, you're approving the trip for the student.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Surplus equipment.
Do you want me to do that, Mr. Dalton, or you want to do that?
Better let him do it.
I mean, I don't think, I have just as much familiarity with the.
No,
Is this me?
this,
I'm really prepared for anything formal, I'm so sorry.
also, Josh, we're gonna need you to.
I feel like Crystal
This
Chandler.
is Coach Beatty.
Yes, I'm Coach Beatty. Hello, everyone. So I didn't know if there were other surplus items, but Crystal Chandler, our athletic director at the high school, is requesting that we surplus the Lynx track timing system. Just to give you a little bit of history about this, this was purchased in 2022 from BSN by Mr. Fain, and has not even been removed from the box in all of the years that we have been so far at Mecklenburg County High School. What it is a timing system that times the runners when they come across the finish line for, it's a digital, it connects to computers, has cameras that are involved, needs internet, needs power. We didn't really know that the system was there at the high school for a really long time. My first couple of years there coaching cross country, we did not know that it was there. We found out that it was there. We have tried numerous times. I will tell you, when Crystal Chandler took over as athletic director, she made this one of her goals to really try to get this system where we could implement it for our cross country meets and our track meets. And then she has worked tirelessly, really, for, I would say, the past year to try to see if we could get this to work. And we keep coming back to, it's just really not a feasible option for us. And there are much better options for our cross-country meets and our home track meets for several different reasons. I'll read you straight from an email that she sent to me. I'm here representing her today. First of all, the electricity on the high school football field at the finish line, where the finish line would be for our track meets, the electricity is not capable of doing that for cross. We have to run extension cords out there. Seth from the IT department, as well as Josh, have tried different times to kind of come out there and see what we would need. I can't speak to the whole internet connection. Maybe Josh can talk about that a little bit. But this operating system, I can tell you from my experience at track meets where they use this Lynx system, big companies like Blue Ridge Timing System, they normally have 2 or 3 computers operating at the same time with Ethernet cords coming out, power cords, 2 or 3 cameras operating at the same time. And I just don't see that as something that we can do. The biggest problem or the biggest issue that Coach Chandler says is that nobody on campus, on our campus, can really operate the system as it should be to actively use it for track meets. In talking with my dad about coming here tonight, this is not just like operating a scoreboard. When Coach Chandler works with teachers from the high school and the middle school to operate the scoreboard at the stadium, there's training that happens and they do a really good job. This type of system is really for professional companies that when it was purchased, I don't know that anyone was ever asked, should we purchase this or not? But it is really used by professional companies that come out with 2 or 3 people. They have runners. And like I said, multiple computers operating at the same time. I don't know if Josh wants to talk about logistics.
Pretty much the same thing, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just, basically what Ms. Beatty said here, you know, the biggest problem is it's just very high end and a little bit out of the scope of what we can do here. If we could go out and set up and, you know, have like 2 or 3 dedicated people to just do that and get the proper training and those same people, I mean, you may be able to get by with it, but this is the type of system, once you get it set up, first, we're missing some infrastructure, like network cables and stuff like that would need to be run under the track. We also are missing power out there, like Ms. Beatty said. But the other thing is, this is a type of system that has to be put up, connected, and everything hooked up and working, and then it comes down every track meet, and it goes back up. So it's a very precise type of thing, and it's just, don't think it's gonna be.
It's something that a high school probably shouldn't have purchased.
No, it looks like a track where maybe if you have a track and that's all you do is track, you know, and it's something you could just leave there, but like Ms. Beatty said, it's gonna take 2 or 3 people that really know what's going on to have this thing work. And on top of that, one of the things that I mentioned somebody I can't remember, if we were to set or break some kind of record at the high school, I mean, we'd be basing it off of that equipment. So I don't know what that would entail, you know, if that were ever to happen. So, but this equipment, I've checked all of this equipment out. It's in like military grade carrying cases for that purpose. It's like 7 or 8 of them. Even the braces that you put the cameras on come in their own little carrying case. So it's just very high end, and it's not going to be feasible for us.
So your recommendation, I believe, is to, or Ms. Chandler would like to sell the system and use the funds to pay fees when hosting track meets?
Yes, sir. So she has 3 possible people. She has not talked pricing with them in any capacity. She has 3 interested parties in purchasing it, again, with no cost, no purchase price as of yet. Companies that we have used in the past, one in Danville, another company out of Lynchburg called Run Roanoke, and then actually 2 places in Danville that she gave me. When we host, so far what we have done is when we host cross-country meets, we use a company called Run Roanoke. They charge us for cross-country meets about $500, and they do all of the legwork. They do everything. We provide them with an extension cord, and at that point, they take all of the stress from all of the coaches. They do all of the data. We have to enter all of our entries into what's a process called Milestat. They take all of it. They give everybody their bib number. They also take the data and then upload it so that all coaches in our district and our region have those times. That part is not on us. If we were to try to operate a system like this and we didn't have it set up correctly or it was calibrated incorrectly, all of that would go into Milestat and be sort of incorrect data going into state track meets or regional track meets, which would probably cause a big problem in our Class 4 district that we run in. Coach Chandler also wanted me to mention that the companies that come for track, so Blue Ridge Timing System is who we are contracted to, is going to run our home track meets for our middle school and our high school this year. They are running anywhere between $400 and $800 per meet. That's a standard cost. So this money that we would get for selling this would be used to pay for those fees from the companies that are coming to do it. The last thing as a coach that I would just mention to kind of help Coach Chandler, because we've been trying to work closely on this, is in the Piedmont district that we run in for cross-country indoor track and outdoor track, every place we go uses a timing company to come in and do it. Same thing within our Class 4 region that we run in, Class 4D. Every place that we go, all of our invitations, they use a timing system and it is not on the coaches or the staff of the high school. So just to kind of put in that. So she would like for us to be able to surplus that and sell that and use the funds in our department.
Question. What system does Blue Ridge use?
They use links. They
So we already own the system, and we're gonna pay them $400 to $800 to use their system? And we already own one just like, how are they hooking theirs up when they're on our field?
They have all of their,
When they bring it, they will hook it up and stuff, but they're gonna be running it also. That's the 2 or 3 people that run it are their people.
And they can't train us to hook ours up and run it?
I don't believe so.
Coach Chandler has reached out to BSN, who it was purchased from. She has also reached out to the Links company as well, to try to get people to come in and train us, and it really has not worked out. And she's really been trying for about a year.
You said, I think, that there's an internet issue, and a connectivity issue, and an electricity issue as well, right, Josh?
Yeah, I did look at some reviews for the Link system where other schools are trying to use it, and they are having trouble. It's a complicated system.
Yeah, it is. I'm just saying that the
Yeah.
system, there's nothing wrong with the system, it's just that we're not smart enough to use it. Because if Blue Ridge can come in here and hook up to ours where we say we can't hook up, then Blue Ridge is already trained with the Link system, and we're just not trained.
What I'm saying is that it's requiring a technical specialty level, from what I can read, that others are running into, that we probably don't have. They have people that do this for a living all the time. We're asking teachers and our IT department to work with this when we don't have the wiring, we don't have the hardware that is needed at the site to make it work. Like I said, I don't know any more than what I've read on the internet, but the chatter I'm seeing, it's a system that's difficult.
Yeah. Maybe we need to fine tune our purchasing department for things like this, you know? If we're gonna buy something that we're not gonna know how to use for 2 years, you know,
Well, and I think Coach Chandler, in her AD role, since she has gotten that, and I'll tell you as a coach, she has really had a lot of, this may not be the right words to say, if you know me, you know I just kind of talk off the cuff. She has really had a lot of cleaning up to do of things that were done prior, really 2 athletic directors prior to her. And she's done a great job of really weeding through all of that. This is one of those things that was never alerted. And I started coaching right when Mr. Fain was there. I mean, we worked together for the 3 months that he was there at the school. He purchased this along with there were other things as well, but this is just one example that was purchased with from what, and Ms. Barber might be able to say, with no talking to anyone. Nobody saying, hey, what do you think about this? Do we have any, can schools use it? What are the reviews on it? All of a sudden, it was just in this box in our storage room.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree with you that, and she has streamlined the purchasing process. I know we just had got to put in some requests for some equipment and different things like that. And some of the things, she went through it with a fine-tooth comb and said, yes, I agree, you and your team need this. No, you probably don't need this. And X was put through that. So I really feel like this was not on Coach Taylor. This was something that she is trying to really clean up and make the best use of what can we do with this.
I'm not blaming anybody, I'm not blaming her. It's just that when one department spends $225,000 for a machine that stays in a box 2 years, maybe somebody needs to call the finance department and ask them about it.
$24,000.
Oh, $24,000. I don't know what I'm thinking. But that's a lot of money to spend. And then, and he was from Danville, Virginia, so he'd probably seen the Blue Ridge thing being used a lot up there. So maybe that's the reason he thought we could use it. I don't know. But, money's money.
But if I'm hearing you correctly, it seems like the infrastructure that what we would need to be able to use something like this to the fidelity that we would require a lot more expenditures as well. And what it seems like is if we could put this money toward the professionals that use it all the time, put the liability on them, and use this funds to help, cover that. I mean, several years down the road, the next best thing is going to be there. And, we, sometimes with how technology evolves, there's an ease in that as well. So, I mean, I can understand what you're looking at, but to make this work right, would be talking a lot more money as well, let alone personnel. So.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, I have a question. You say you want to sell this. You're looking at a company or a school or trying to reach close to the price that we bought it?
I honestly cannot speak to that. I know she's looking at 2 companies and 1 school. 2 companies, one is called Run Roanoke, they're out of Lynchburg. And then there's another company in Danville. And then GW actually said maybe, but they have, if you know anything about George Washington and GW in Danville, they just redid their track, and their track is connected with Avery University as well. So I think that's maybe why they were possibly of interest in purchasing it, because it's on a collegiate level as well as a high school.
Ms. Garden?
Yeah.
It's 3-year-old technology, as Mr. Winter knows, technology is changing about every few months. So I think at this point, we've got something we can't use, and we should cut our losses and get what we can for it from anybody that can take it.
I mean, and you said how much when you hire these folks? You said 500 or
So cross-country is $400, roughly $400 to $500, depending on your participants, how many runners you have. And then track is $400 to $800 per meet.
And roughly, I'm just trying to get an idea of, how many.
So we host 1 home cross-country meet every season in the fall, and normally 2, I think they're hosting this year 2 middle school, a regular season, and the district is being hosted at ours. But the district meet for the timing system, I believe, is paid for by the Southside Conference. And then, so that's only one cost to us. And then we have 2 high school home meets this year, so.
So roughly $1,500 to $2,000 a year, let's say. So if we can get half the money off of this, then we cover us a good 4 years probably, 4 or 5 years. So, and by then the technology's changed anyway, we'd have to replace it.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
Any other questions?
Like you said, it's not Crystal's fault.
No.
She's cleaning up somebody else's mess.
I really, and I give much credit to her, because she has been working really hard.
By the way, you got a lot of daddy in you.
I do have a lot. We were walking around Clarksville, and I was like, Dad, I gotta go to the school board meeting. He's like, well, tell me what you're gonna say. I was like, got it.
Tell him I said that.
Any other questions? Thank you. And thank you, Josh, for.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, superintendent's comments.
All right. Mr. Winter calls this the manifesto. Just I put my comments in written form, because if I don't, as most of the staff and the board will tell you, I will ramble. So I'm just going to read these aloud. Hopefully, even though it's a double-sided page, it'll be quick. This spring semester has brought uncharacteristic weather issues to Mecklenburg County Public Schools. Thus far, we've accrued 6 school closed days, 1 one-hour delay day, and 4 remote learning days. So that's a total of 10 days. In addition, we've had 2 days this year, not just this semester, when wind events with 26 to 31 mile per hour gusts have been forecasted. However, in each case, students attended schools as there was no danger to students or staff during the transportation period of time, and our brick and mortar facilities are the safest place for our students to be during such an event midday. Releasing students during wind events would be considered unsafe, therefore sheltering in place is and has been the recommended practice. While many school divisions will be required to make up days at this time, we have no plans to make up any missed days as we embedded into our instructional calendar an additional 90 hours, which is considered bank time with regard to the required 990 hours of instruction required by the Virginia Department of Education and Code of Virginia. Each year, Mecklenburg County Public Schools plans for 180 days of instruction, which is the law, which totals 1,090 hours. The Commonwealth of Virginia permits up to 10 remote learning days for inclement weather and/or school site issues. These additional hours of instruction provide more than just the minimum of instruction for our students. So if we don't use all those days, that time is well spent for our kids. I want to thank the staff for their preparation and rescheduling of instruction during these weather events, and thank you, parents and community, for watching for and abiding by the alerts sent via text, email, and phone. Student information and bus schedules. Parents, please be on the lookout for information sent to you this spring to update or confirm your addresses, your phone numbers, and bus stop information. It's imperative that you respond as soon as you receive this request and to contact your child's school should any of your information change between now and the opening of school next year. Please don't wait until the week before school, as developing school bus schedules and stops is complex and time sensitive. We want to make certain that our first week of school is free from complications as possible. And also it's important if we need to reach parents because of an emergency or some issue, if we don't have the right information, we're out of luck. Parents, please be aware that our middle school and high school students have been signing up for courses for the upcoming 25-26 school year. Forms were sent home a few weeks ago for parents to review, ask questions, and to sign. Currently, school counselors are meeting with students to confirm and move forward with their choices. And this is in big, bold letters. If you've not received the scheduling form, please contact your student's school counselor immediately. We'd really hate for students to submit these forms without your verified signature and/or review, but occasionally this does occur. As always, the middle school and high school will attempt to place students in the course that they desire. However, sometimes due to teacher shortages, courses filling up, the lack of prerequisite course taken by the student, and/or the lack of interest in some courses, sometimes students may not get their first choice. Seniors are normally given first priority, followed by juniors and so on. Communication. I really feel it's necessary for me to touch upon a few issues that have come to light in the past few weeks. Each has negative connotations regarding school and community perceptions and the safety and security of our students and staff. Most recently, and throughout the year, here and throughout the Commonwealth, individuals have published false, threatening, and/or defamatory posts on social media. These declared commentaries have sometimes created anxiety, acrimony, and sometimes panic amongst our students, staff, and stakeholders. We've been very fortunate to have a sheriff and local law enforcement who, when they can, alerts us to such posts. In some cases, a decision is issued for a lockdown or a lockout, and this is made to allow time for investigation, all the while keeping students and staff safe within the confines of our facilities. There have been some frustration on the part of parents when immediate information is not passed along. Unfortunately, incomplete and incorrect information issued before proper investigation and vetting takes place will undoubtedly create more issues. Please understand that a lockdown or lockout of a school is for the safety of all concerned, and that students cannot and will not be released until an all clear has been signaled by the school and local law enforcement agencies. In addition, as a school division, we must thread the needle about protection of students, all the while not violating the rights of our employees or stakeholders. Should information be released about an individual being charged for a crime, we have procedures and protocols in place for removing individuals from the presence of students in schools if they are charged. However, we are unable to comment on personnel issues or criminal charges, especially if law enforcement is in the process of investigation and adjudication, and if they have not shared the recent dispositions with us. And finally, we are into the second week of the last 9 weeks grading period. On Wednesday, March 19th, we'll have our last elementary school parent-teacher conference from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Elementary students will be released at 12:30 p.m., while secondary students will remain on a regular schedule. Report cards will be issued on Thursday, March the 20th. Spring break, April the 14th, is in 18 days, 18 school days. Spring sports and activities are well underway. The trees are beginning to bud, and daylight increases each day. There are approximately 44 days left before school ends on May the 23rd. Clarksville and Chase City Elementary School's last day will be May the 20th due to Clarksville Elementary moving out of and Chase City Elementary moving in to the former Bluestone High School facility. And finally, summer school will begin on June the 9th. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments. The CTE program, if you had the opportunity to go, or if the parents had the opportunity to go, see what's going, it was fabulous. There was a lot of people there. And many of you probably miss Dr. H. making his pizza. He got to wear an apron and everything. But it was very nice, and I think the students had a lot of questions. I saw them asking questions of the teachers. So if you didn't get a chance to go, you missed a good one. Also, I hope I get this date right. On April the 10th, there will be an art expo at Mecklenburg Middle School. And the art will come from all of the schools and be on exhibit for parents and children to see. So I'm sure the parents already know it because their kids will say, oh, we got to go see my artwork. And everybody's walking around with cameras and everything. And that is really nice. So please try to get to that. And one other thing, within the last month, we lost one of our former board members, Ms. Gloria Smith. She was an educator in our county. She loved kids. She worked with teachers, kids, with the community to help promote the education and help with the kids in our community. So if you will, keep the family in your thoughts for this. And that's all I have to say. All right, moving on. Can I get a motion? Whoops, getting ready to skip. Could I get a report from the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee met this afternoon at 5 o'clock. The members went over the payment of bills, and we recommend to the board to pay the bills tonight.
Okay. I think the instructional committee was covered by Dr. Lax. So it was a minutes in your board docs that you could have read before. All right. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion that the school board approves the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
You know, a motion made by Ms. Cole and second by Mr. Wright. Oh, cannot think of his name. Roll call.
Mr. Palmer?
Present. Yes.
Mrs. Garner,
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney. Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
All right, it has been recommended that the bills be paid. Roll call, please.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Garner,
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney. Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Could I get a motion that the school board approves the personnel recommendations regarding employments, resignations, retirement, transfers, supplements, and adjustments?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Allgood, second by Mr. Palmer.
Mr. Palmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Garner,
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney. Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
All right, could I get a motion that the school board approves MCHS DECA overnight field trip to international competition in Orlando, Florida, April 25th through the 30th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Palmer, second by Ms. Coleman. Roll call, please.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Garner.
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney. Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Could I get a motion that the school board approves option 1 of the 2026, 2027 school calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that? Roll call, please.
Mr. Palmer.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Garner,
Yes.
Mrs. Coleman. Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mrs. Cheney. Yes. Mr. Winter,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Allgood.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
All right, reminders, the 19th, there'll be a parent-teacher conference, 1 p.m., 6 p.m., early release for elementary. They will be out at 12:30. It'll be a full day for the high schools and middle school. The 26th is the VSB Spring Networking Forum in Campbell County. April the 14th through the 18th, spring break, off school and offices closed. 21st will be the regular board meeting. All right, board remarks, we'll start with Mr. Dan
Mr. Dan.
Blank.
Thought he was in Forrest Gump.
Let's not go there. First of all, to the administrators and teachers, thank y'all for the hard work that y'all continue to put into our children. And coming day to day and making the schools the best that you can make them. It's really appreciated. And I'm sure the rest of the board members. To the kids that are at home, you know, if you hear your parents talk about this, please keep the hard work going. We're real close to the end of the school year. It's gonna get warm and it's gonna get hard at school, because you don't wanna be outside. So keep plugging in, do the hard work, and just finish the school year up on a bright note. And just one reminder to parents, stay involved in your children at school. With the good grades, the bad grades, ask them what's going on at school. Because, you know, all kinds of information comes home. We got surveys going around, we have classes, registration signups, and without the parents' input, you know, and driving these young kids forward, you know, it's a lot to do, you know, on a young person. So please stay involved in your children's school life. And thank you.
Mr. Winter?
Just had a few thoughts. The springtime is undoubtedly a busy time of year, and as the days and weeks become tough, help your neighbor, show compassion, and give grace. Remember to pray. We have a lot of good. The student awards and agenda items today bring a lot of praise to our community. And I just wish everyone a safe, month ahead as we approach spring break. Thank you.
Mr. Palmer?
I pretty much concur. I think we've had a great year. I want to ask all of you to continue to come to our meetings that we have. I know there may be many of things that you could be doing on a given day, given night, but yet and still, if you look at it from the right angle, come into coming to meetings and seeing what your students need and have is well worth it. Thank you again.
Mr. Edwards?
Yeah, thank the principals and staff for the report on the cell phones. I get that question a lot out in the field. The parents want to know how it's working. So it's really good to be able to tell them that the kids are finally smiling, looking at each other again, and not carrying the technology around in their hand in the hallways. So thanks for what you do, teachers. I know that's a tough battle every day to keep them from doing that, but do what you can. Thank you.
Mr. Wright? I'll skip you.
You're gonna skip me? Go ahead, Tramps, I'll catch up later.
Once again, I would like to thank
I did that.
for everyone attending tonight and participating. Be safe.
Ms. Jamie?
Just to reiterate, thank you guys so much for a great school year, and it's almost over. Let's just continue to stay strong. Thank you guys for everything that you do.
Ms. Coleman?
Y'all can check my count on this, but tonight I believe we honored 3 student athletes for their outstanding achievements. 26 individuals for placing at the state beta contest. Think about that. Some of them in multiple categories. 8 first place awards. And we're sending a student to DECA International competition. I think the whole county should be proud, and we should all be saying, "Go Phoenix."
Mr. Allgood?
My turn. Save the best for last. I would like to thank everyone that's in the trenches working every day. I did this for 42 years, and I'm telling you, it was a lot easier back then. Wasn't it, Ms. Dalton? I see what you do, and I don't know how you do it. I'm so pleased. I also would like to say to the ladies and gentlemen who are sitting around this table on this board, thank you. It's such a pleasure to work with gentlemen and ladies who conduct themselves that way. We can agree to disagree and do it in a professional manner, treating each other with respect. If you ever watch the news and you want to see wrestling, check the federal level. And if you want to see boxing, check the state level, because they're always fighting and complaining, never working together. It's a pleasure to work with you guys. Thank you so much.
And you only worked 22 of those 42 years.
Only did 20, actually.
Yes.
And I would like to say have a safe and wonderful Easter break. Could I get a motion to resume?
Yes. So moved.
All right, meeting over with. Y'all have a nice night.
I'm going to buy you some more of those.
Yeah, go ahead and take them home.
You sure?